Compost for the blueberry bushes because they like really acidic soil, and the apple trees. Add a little. Good job. Are these arborvitaes too?
Yeah, they're just little.
They look lighter, don't they?
Then you probably squished him.
Oh, I think the worms will do all right. They'll be squished a little, but it's okay. Good.
That's only true depending on where you cut them.
Taylor, Mom's gonna use it to get a little full compost.
Ow! Probably is.
I loosen up the roots a little.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I want this top of the soil because there are so many worms in it.
There's dirt all over my mouth.
There probably is.
Here.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wish I would have done more of when we first moved in here was plant fruit trees and fruit bushes and, you know, blueberries and raspberries and apples and pears and all that kind of stuff. We have been, you know, kind of doing a little bit each year, and that's been fine because, you know, as money comes available in the springtime or the fall time, or we see sales on fruit trees or things like that, we'll buy some. So we were up at Family Farm and Home today, Lisa and I, and we came across the 20% off deal that we always look for on these apple trees. So they're like 24 bucks instead of 30, and we just gobble up as many as we can afford at the time. So we got 6 today, and 6 blueberry bushes and a bunch of other stuff. And so let me just kind of show you what the plan is for orchards and fruit things around here, and we'll just talk a little bit about what we're doing. So right along the wheat field here, we've got, this is where the sweet corn patch was last year, and we've got the goat pastures and things like that out there, and the greenhouse right back here. We have, we're going to start an orchard, so I'm just going to be tilling up a patch of this grass, just tilling it all in, and then I'll wood chip this whole line about maybe 8 feet wide or maybe 6 feet wide or something like that from the wheat patch. I don't know if you can see, the wheat looks just like grass, so it's hard to tell, but there's this is the edge of the wheat patch here on this side, and then of course grass here. And so we just have the 5 apple trees. And we're just doing, you know, varieties, because the plan with these is eventually to do like cider and things. So Liberty, which I've never had before. Gala, we eat a lot of galas, and so we have quite a few gala apple trees around here. So Brayburn and John Gold. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the plan back here with apple trees is in the fall I'd like to plant another 5 or 6 back here right along the same line and just keep going until kind of half of our backyard pretty much is filled with apple trees. I like to keep the apple trees close to the house because deer don't bother them. They don't come up this close with all the other animals and things around, so we don't have trouble with deer. They're a lot easier to care for, remember to water, and you know, all that kind of good stuff. And plus, I hate grass. I would kill in our entire yard and maybe just a little patch to play softball on or something, you know, with the kids. If I could, I would get rid of our entire yard and wood chip it, make paths, build outbuildings, plant orchards, you know, landscape, whatever it is. I just think grass is such a waste to care for and mow and all the other stuff you have to do with grass. And so every year, less grass, more fruit. So how many apple trees do you think we'll end up with out here? Or how many do you want to have?
I would say about 40.
40?
Yeah.
All right, so we got some work to do.
Yeah. And 40 blueberry bushes.
All right. So there you go. We've got a lot of planting to do. So far, I think I counted. We have like 23 fruit trees that we've planted in the last. We've been here about 2.5 years, and I think we only have 7 blueberry bushes, and we've got some raspberry bushes and other things around. But let me show you the blueberry bushes we just planted as well. So this path right here is the one I made out of those wood discs. It's been here about 2 years almost, and it's been doing really well. So we've just planted the blueberry bush row on this side of it, and then we're going to plant another row of blueberry bushes right alongside of there. So we'll have a good thick blueberry patch. So there's 6 bushes there. When we first moved in the first summer, we had this garden, the kitchen garden. A friend of ours actually gave us like maybe 4 little bits of strawberry plants from their house. They just had, you know, they're going crazy like this. And so we just stuck them in here. And this has been 2 growing seasons that they've had. So the first summer and then the second summer. And this is their 3rd summer. And they have just taken over this entire area. And so these strawberries will spread. And you can see they're just loaded with strawberries, or the starts of strawberries. Anyway, they've flowered and everything. So we should have a good patch of strawberries. This is quite a few actually. And we're just going to let this take over this whole ground area, all on the side of the path, and we'll just let them cover the ground there and go wild. So, kind of coming up in the front of the house, another place I like to keep fruit trees. We've got some more apple trees. This is Honeycrisp. Now, this is my favorite apple by far, the Honeycrisp tree, and this one's flowering. We've got 3 of them, so I think we have 3 of them anyway. That's a Honeycrisp. I think that is also, and then this bigger one here. These are hard to find. These are never around when the sales go on. So if you want Honeycrisp trees, you got to catch them early in the year. We have an apricot over here, which last year did amazing, and this year, I think a late frost got it, and you can see it had flowered and everything, and we were going to get a lot of apricots on it, and it looks like the frost killed off a lot of leaves, but some of them are coming back, and I see some new buds and things like that coming out, and so hopefully this will recover, but it took a hit this year for sure. This is a couple-year-old tree, and it's been doing pretty good out here until this year anyway. This is a peach tree. This was planted last year. Every year for our anniversary on June 4th, my wife and I buy some type of a tree or something that will last. And so we try to do that every year. And so this was last year's anniversary gift to each other. And many of you have asked how the horses are doing. Well, they're doing just great. Eating up all the hay. And they have, this pasture is still kind of a muddy mess. They've had some grass in here that they've been able to munch on, but it's, now that I'm better and my leg has healed from the accident, the pig attack, I can start working on getting them out into a better pasture. But all along this pasture, you can see we have apple trees right down the row, and I thought it'd be handy to have these right next to the pasture because all the dead apples or bad apples, I guess you could say, that will fall off these trees in the future, they'll be laying on the ground. I can just come down here and chuck them into the pasture for the goats and horses and pigs and whatever else we have in here. So there are 6 apple trees down here and 2 pear trees, I believe. And the funny thing with these trees is I don't remember what any of these are except for the 2 pear trees that I just planted this year. We had one of the apple trees that died, and so I replaced it with a pear tree. And this also got hit with a frost. See how the top leaves on the tree died off, but it should recover, I'm hoping. So this pear tree, and then I just planted another pear tree that you saw some of here. And this one is a different variety, but they should pollinate with each other. I think this is a self-fertile, but I think it's better if it has a buddy to pollinate with. So try to plant 2 of those out here. Most of these apple trees are the same way. They need a pollinating buddy, but I have no clue what these apple trees are. The tags fell off, and I actually don't remember what any of the varieties were, so they'll be mystery apples. So if I could go back in time, I think one of the things I would have done would have been to actually set aside some money from the sale of our old house, just maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000. And planted and just went and bought a bunch of trees, bunch of fruit trees, as many as I could maybe order online or get whatever varieties I actually wanted and plan out an orchard right off the bat. But one of the things that passes by every year is time, and you can't get it back. And so, 2 years worth of growth or 3 years worth of growth, looking back on that, once we've been here 5 years, we could have a producing orchard, in 5 years from these trees. And so, but if we don't start right away, I'm planting these trees this year, they're not going to really produce a lot for us for probably 3 or 4 years. And so it's time. I just have to wait, that we're not making money off selling those products, or not having that food or cider or, applesauce or whatever we're going to make. We don't have that for our family. So, planting blueberry bushes and raspberry bushes and fruit trees and things like that right off the bat is definitely something I would recommend to anybody that's doing a homestead or a farm or anything. Same thing with our Christmas tree plan. I've really wanted to do a Christmas tree farm here. And we haven't had the money or the time to get that started, and it's one of those things that, the time is going by, and we planting trees is just something you got to do right away. And so if you can do anything right up front, if you can set aside the money to do it, do the fruit trees. Definitely do the fruit trees. The fruit bushes, they grow faster, but the trees, they just take time. We generally plant all of our trees in the spring, of course, and in the fall. We don't really do anything special. We plant them in our native soil, and I throw some compost around them, which is our composted manures and things, and they seem to grow just fine. So we never fertilize. Every year, all I do is I top off around the trees with compost in the spring, and sometimes in the fall if I think they need it, and then I cover it with wood chips. New layer of wood chips every year, and that breaks down, and that's all the nutrients those trees generally need. So, but we'll see. We've got some flowers out there on the apple trees this year, so we may get a few apples, and we've got some raspberries that are going, and we've got strawberries, and we have a few established blueberry bushes, and so we may actually have some fruit this year. So I'd love to hear from you guys out there, homesteaders and farmers and all that good stuff. What's important to how much money should you set aside for fruit right off the bat when you start a homestead or a farm? How important is it? To me, it's a pretty important thing. We eat a lot of fruit around here, so let me know what you guys think. Throw that stuff down below in the comments, and of course, don't forget to hit thumbs up. Right, Remy? Right? Hit thumbs up. And if this is your first time to the SSL Family Dad channel, I'd love to have you guys subscribe and follow along. Lots of good stuff coming up. It's gardening season. We're late this year in Michigan. This whole pig attack set us back, but we're going to get our gardens planted soon, probably this weekend, and you'll be along for that. So love to have you tag along. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.